Hi class, today we're going to learn about the nets of 3D shapes. Okay, so before we start talking about the nets, let's talk about the 3D shapes first. Okay, so I have here two rectangular solids, two 3D shapes, okay? The one on the left is a rectangular solid because each of its faces is a rectangle. And we want to name the different parts of this. So I have a length, I have a breadth or a width. Okay, that's the width there along here. I can call it the width or the breadth. I have a height. So how high up does it go? So there are three edges that I need to worry about. The length, which is there, the width and the height. And each of these is an edge. Okay, these are the edges. Okay, I'm going to highlight some edges here. So this is an edge, or down this side is an edge. So any of the outside sort of edges we can highlight here. And then each point or each corner is called a vertex. Okay, and then over on the right hand side here, I have a similar rectangular solid, but all the lengths are the same in this one. So we know what the name of this is. This is a cube. We're very used to that. So where all the lengths are the same and you have a 3D box, it's called a cube. But if all the lengths are not the same, we call it a cuboid. Okay, so that's a rectangular solid, a cuboid. And so in the cube, all the sides are the same. So this is a length here, but this is also a length and this is a length. They're all the same. They're all the same measure. Okay, so I want you to imagine now that these boxes are boxes of cereal or boxes of sweets. Have you ever taken a cardboard box that you have in the kitchen and flattened it out so you can put it into the recycling bin? What does it look like? Well, that's what the net of a 3D shape is. If we were to take the 3D shape and to flatten it out into a two-dimensional shape, into a flat shape, what would that look like? Okay, and what we have here now is a little animation of a 2D flattened out box and then how it comes together to make a 3D shape. All right, so we have to be able to draw this. We have to be able to look at the three-dimensional shape like the cube box or the cuboid and figure out how to draw what it would look like if I was to flatten it out. Okay, so we're going to try and draw this box here. It has a length of 8, a height of 5 and a width of 3. So I'm going to look at each face of the box. So let's look at the side of the box here first of all. So I'm going to look at the right hand side of this box. So I'm looking at this part here. Okay, so this face here, if I was to flatten that out, what would it look like? It would have a length of 5 and a width of 3. So let's draw that. Okay, so there's a width of 3. So I'm going to go a width across here of 3 boxes and a length of 5. So that was a height of 5. So if I flatten that out, sort of flattening it out that way, flat onto the table, let's say, it would be a length of 5 I need here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's that edge flattened out. I'm going to colour it in the same colour. Now let's take the back edge. Sorry, I'll take the floor. I'm going to take the floor of it here. The floor of the box. I'm going to colour it in green. So I'm taking this part next. And so that's going to be attached on along the edge. So this edge here, let me just highlight it. It's going to be attached along that edge. Okay, so I need to attach along this edge of my net. So I'm drawing my net. This is what a net is. And so that is going to be a width of 3, but a length of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so those are 8 across and a width of 3. And that's going to be coloured in green. Okay, next I'm going to take the back of the box. So the back of the box is this, all this here. Okay, so What will that look like? Well, it's attached along this edge. Okay, so the edge, the long edge between the red and the green. So it's going to be attached along this side of my net. So let's draw it. It's going to have a height, it's a height of 5 and a length of 8. So I have the length 8. I need to go up by 5 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Need to go across. Okay, and I'll colour that in red so it matches my 3D shape. Okay, so let's look at the front face now. So the front face, I'm going to colour it in yellow. So it's this shape here. It's this face here at the front of the box. Okay, so that's yellow and it's attached onto the green. It's attached onto the green face here. Okay, so that's the edge where it's attached on. So it's the opposite side of the green face. So it means I have to attach it onto my net there. Okay, so it's going to be the same shape as the red one, the red face. So these are all the faces of this box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I go 5 there? I only went 4. And I'll draw in the last edge and I'm going to colour that in yellow. Okay, so I'm trying to make all of these match up. Now let's look at the side here. So let's look at the left hand side and I'm going to colour that in a new colour. I'll go grey. Okay, so this side here, which is grey. I need to replicate that here. Now I have a couple of options. It is attached on in a few different places. I could go with it's attached on to the red. So it's attached onto the red face, so I could draw it in here, okay? Or, if I didn't want to do that, I could say it's attached onto the yellow face, and that would mean that it's attached on here. So I could attach it onto this edge if I wanted to, which would mean I'd be drawing it in here, okay? Or I could... and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it onto the green face. So I'm going to attach it along that edge, and that's this edge here. So you can see that there's lots of different ways to draw a net of a solid. There's not one way. I could give a solid to everybody in the class, and most of you could come up with a different way of drawing it. Okay, so let's draw this in. It's a width of 3 and a height of 5, so I need to go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll colour that in now. So that's the grey face on the left hand side. And so my last option now, or my last thing I need to do, is I need to colour in the top. So let's get a colour for the top. I need a new colour. Okay, so let's go purple. So I'm colouring in the top face of this box, the top of the box, purple, and I want to attach it on. So I have lots of options to attach this on. I can attach it on here along this edge here that is attached onto the red face, so that means I'd be attaching it here. Okay, so that's one option. So I could attach it there. I could attach it on this edge. Okay, so attaching onto the yellow face, so I could attach it on here. Okay, so that's another option. So I'll colour that in purple. So this is my second option, attached to the yellow. I could attach it onto this edge here. See the way the purple is attached to this edge? So this is the grey face. So I could attach it onto the top of that, which means I would be attaching it on here. Okay, or I could attach it on to the opposite face. So that would be over here. So I could attach it onto the top of the blue face. So that would be over here. So lots of different options as to where I'm going to put this face. So it's really just a matter of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Where do you want to put it? So I'm going to attach it on up here along this edge, okay, along the top. And I need to be careful here. It is not going to look exactly like this face. It is not 5 in height and 8 across. It is 8 across, but a width of 3. So I'm going to go 3 boxes up and then 8 boxes across. So really it's the same shape as this one here. It's the same shape as the green. And that makes sense because it's facing the green. It's exactly opposite the green in our 3D shape. And so I'll colour that in purple. Okay, now when you're doing this, you'll get really fast at it. It won't take that long, and you certainly don't have to colour in or anything like that. But I just wanted to use the colours here for to help you to match up the faces in the 3-dimensional and in the 2-dimensional diagrams. So the 3-dimensional diagram, that's the cuboid, and the 2-dimensional diagram, that's the net. That's the net of the cuboid. Okay, so here's a nice question. It really requires us to use our imagination here. We've got to think about how, if we were to cut out these nets of cubes, how could we fold them up into a 3D shape? So we've got to try and visualize this in our minds. And so the way that we do this is try and pick out where would we make our folds and which faces of the cube would be opposite each other. So let's start with A. Okay, so what I've done in here is I've popped in where I would put a fold. I'd fold this face up so it's standing upright, and I'd fold this face up so it's standing upright. So I put a fold there and there. I would put a fold here, so this is standing upright. And then finally, I'm going to fold these two sides over so that they all close in on itself. And let's highlight which sides would be opposite each other. So this side here, this face of the cube, when I turn it and when I make my fold, it's going to be opposite this face. All right. Then I'm going to have, so those will be sort of the two sides of the box. This here will be the top of the box, and this will be the bottom of the box. All right. So when I make my folds here on the right hand side, the two folds on the right hand side, this will come over the top. This little red face will come right over the top and be opposite the bottom face down there. And then what will happen is these two ones that are remaining, they will become the sides. They'll become the front face and the back face of the cube. Okay, so my badly drawn little cube here will give you a sense of what this looks like. You have yellow on the front face and on the back face of this as well. You have purple on the side, so this side and the opposite side is purple as well. And then you have red on the very top of the box, and the bottom face of the box is red. So let's quickly go through the rest of them. So for the next one, this one will fold along this edge, and then we'll fold again and we'll turn it over onto that edge. It'll fold here, and it'll fold here and here. All right, and let's see which faces are opposite each other. So this face, okay, this face here will be opposite this face. So these will be the sides again. This face will be the bottom of the box. This face will be the top of the box. And then the last two are going to be the front face and the back face of the box again. Okay. So it'll look like this box over here once again. Okay, let's have a look at B and D now. Okay, so where would I try and fold this box? Well, let's look at D. I'd try and fold it there and there and there. So it means that this would be the base of the box, and this would be the top of the box again. I would have the back face of the box would be the yellow here, and the front face of the box would be here, and this purple would be the side of the box. Now what I really need is to have another side onto this edge here. I need a side of the box that would come up on the right hand side. But what's going to happen is this face is actually going to double up onto this one. These two faces are going to end up doubling up on each other, and I'm going to be missing the right hand side of the purple face on the right hand side. Now let's look at B. Now, these are tricky enough. It does take you a bit of time to try and figure out how all of these would fold up. It kind of requires you to to be able to imagine cutting these up and folding them together in your mind. And if that's something that's difficult, then I think it's a good idea to draw them out and actually cut them up. So get a piece of paper, draw them out and actually cut them up and try and fold them into cubes. Right, so let's look at B. So here I'm going to fold along this edge. I'm going to fold this one up and fold this up. And so this is going to sort of fold over, and it's going to start looking like that this will be the top lid of the box, okay, the very top of the box, which we always say is red, and this will be the base of the box, and that means that this will be the front face of the box, this will be the back face of the box, and if I went along and tried to fold this here, this would become the left hand side of the box, this bit. So this face here, that would end up being sort of that left-hand face in there. But what would happen to this? So it's attached along the edge. It's going to end up folding back around from that side of the box, back around to the front face again. So really what we want is another purple face over here, but that's missing because this face is going to fold in on top of this face here. It's going to become the front face of the box again. So that one is not a cuboid. Okay, so these two are not cuboids. This face and this face are going to end up opposite each other. So that's going to be a yellow face again on the front. You're going to have a doubling up of the faces and you're going to be missing the purple face on the right hand side of the box. So those two are not, and these two are. Okay, so those two are cubes.